Trinity here, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another informative, inspirational dance career episode. Before we hop into today's episode, if you've not caught any of the last few lives that I've done, please go back and watch them. They were a lot of fun to record, but also they are super revelatory and super informative. And then do not forget that I have some very uh, just incredible dance career resources. You can find those at the links in the description or in the main page of this YouTube channel. And then if you follow me on Instagram, you can definitely find the links there as well. And then if you are a dance teacher, you are someone who puts together programming for dance, or I know we've just come out of the summer, but even for future um, dance training, festivals, conferences, summer intensives. I am taking my Timeless Dance Gems curriculum on tour, and I would love to bring my curriculum, Timeless Dance Gems, to your dancers, helping them to become more visible, valuable, and longevity minded for their careers. Okay, today we are talking about building your personal brand for your dance career. Now, when you hear the words personal brand and then you hear the words for your dance career, what are you automatically thinking? I feel like most people are thinking, I have to post on social media. My my Instagram has to look a certain way. My TikTok and my Instagram or whatever else has to be niched up. I have to make sure that, I look spotless, perfect. Have to make sure the first three squares on my social media pages are right. Or you may go the other way and you may say, I have to make sure that I can just, perform highly in every genre. I have to make sure that I'm a jack of all trades. I have to make sure that if the director wants tap, that I can tap. I gotta make sure that I can do contemporary. I gotta make sure that I can put point shoes on. I gotta make sure I can do a little hip hop. I gotta make sure that I can do a little belly dancing. Okay? Those things are probably the first things that came across your mind. But what if I told you that your dance career brand is this much about your dancing ability and this much about how you move throughout the field? How you move throughout the field of dance is way more important. I know it's going to sound crazy, but it's way more important than how you dance. Hi, guys. It's way more important. Okay. I'm going to tell you the number one reason why. Because there are thousands of great dance talents around. Okay. If you're in the US like me, or if you're in the UK, if you're in Asia, it does not matter. There are brilliant dance artists, talented dance artists around. Okay. But your ability to dance, your ability to regurgitate choreography, your ability to say, oh, they showed me this. Let me make sure I can do this the best way. Let me make sure that I'm in the choreographer's face. That is not the bulk of, and I would even go so far as to say that has nothing to do with your dance career brand. So, what things should you be focusing on in your dance career brand? If you know, let me know in the comments. What things do you think you should focus on for your dance career brand? They are not things that, dancers today, we think about the things that help us to stand out, or we think about, oh, let me go run up in the director's face real quick. Let me wear the loudest outfit. Let me make sure that I, sabotage this person or that person so that I can be the last man or woman standing. No, it is not about that. Who you are as a person, the reputation that precedes you, what people say about you when they recommend or choose not to recommend you, those things play more into your dance brand than you know. And I'm going to tell you, if we don't take the time to cultivate those types of things or those timeless concepts, as I've coined them, then you're just going to find yourself I talked about this in one of our other videos, you're going to find yourself kind of just like looming and dissolving and disappearing in this blob or this glob. And what is the blob slash glob? That is all of the other dancers who can dance well. And I'm not saying blob or glob to say that they're crap. What I'm saying is there are so many talented dancers. So when you come in as a talented dancer, which you should be, because I've said this time and time again that this profession, this art form is a very visceral one. It is a very personable one. It is a very aesthetically pleasing one. It is one that also tends to be unforgiving, especially in live theater. So you have to be good at what you do, right? You have to have talent. You have to be able to effectively and cognitively be able to digest the craft and to be able to execute it, right? But that is not the only thing you need. And if you think that's the only thing you need for your dance career brand, you're just going to fall in line with everyone else. You're just going to be sort of, like in this circle with everyone else. But the problem with that, the problem with blending in the dance field is that you want to stand out. You talk about standing out. You try to make posts to make yourself stand out. You try to dance the hardest. You post things up and you tag the artist's music that you're dancing to or that you're choreographing to. So, what makes us as dance artists go from people who are sort of behind the wall, and let's say the wall is access, right? Behind the wall in a very normal way. You know what I'm saying? Most dancers have to audition, most dancers kind of, you just like work yourself up. But what takes you from being behind the wall to in front of the wall? What's in front of the wall? Access. What's in front of the wall? Proximity. What's in front of the wall? Great recommendations. What's in front of the wall? You being highly recommended or being serially recommended. What's in front of the wall? You having a network that is astounding. You having people who trust you, find you trustworthy, not only as an artist, but a human being. What's in front of the wall? Further connections. What's in front of the wall? You being able to transcend your race. You being able to transcend the places that other people have gone that have trained with you. You being able to transcend, I love the Lord. You being able to transcend so many other things that otherwise would keep other dancers in a box who only worry about their dance talent. I'm telling you, dance talent is it's so minuscule when you think about the broader picture. I remember last year I, on a whim, decided to go to this audition because somebody sent it to me, and the flyer said, "Thank you." The flyer said that it was a Robert Battle audition. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I am going to be there because it's Robert Battle. Let's be for real. And if you do not know who Robert Battle is, he served as the third artistic director for Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater. Last year in June, he stepped down, and now the lovely Alicia Graf Mack is the current artistic director of Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater, and the fourth. What a legacy! Okay, Alvin Ailey, Judith Jamison, Robert Battle, Alicia Graf Mack. Okay, so I went to the audition, and I was just like, I'm going to do my thing, and I'm also, thinking about how I am going to introduce myself personally to Robert, because although I've auditioned for the Ailey Company twice, those auditions are really big. So, it wasn't the time, space, energy, vibe, move for me to do that. So I was in this audition. It was much smaller, so I was able to do so. And so, I remember just going in there and just like being myself and just not worrying about the dancers around me. Not in a snooty way, but in a way that says, hey, like, we're all here because we love dance. We're all here because we connect with or want to connect with Robert Battle in some way. And so we also want to learn from him. So I respect everyone else who was auditioning in that way, but I realized that I had more to bring to the table than just my artistry. And this is what a lot of dancers do not know, and I think this is why a lot of people don't teach it, because they don't know it themselves. No tea, no shade. It is that because when you have other things on the inside of you and you work on other things, right? You implement other things for your professional dance career other than you being able to hit the step. It does something where it exudes from the inside out. And I'm telling you, trained eyes see it, They know it when they see it and they're attracted to it. And so I just kind of remember having a great time, just kind of like laughing, smiling, and, you know, helping with the camaraderie of the audition and whatnot. And then afterward, some things passed. I was able to go and introduce myself to Robert Battle. I'm not going to tell y'all everything that was said in the conversation, you know, because you got to keep a little stuff to yourself. But his compliments were very on brand for who I am as a dancer and the things that I've heard for as long as I've been dancing. But some of the things he said also let me know that he saw me just beyond the dancing. And what's funny is, we got to a part of the audition before the part where me and him got to speak, and he was going through stuff with dancers, and in this combination, I think he did like a leg or something like that. And he turned around, you know, those old school dancers, their temperament is just so beautiful. They be chilled every day of the week, baby, okay? And then we'll hit the step, we'll choreograph down for blood, okay? So he turned around to us and he said, you know what? Back in the day, something like this. Back in the day, you know, it wasn't all about just, you know, like the legs and the tricks. You know what I'm saying? He was like, nowadays, that's all dancers care about. And then he said, don't get me wrong, back in my day, I did have the leg and the foot. See, and I just laughed. I just laughed because this is what dancers have to know. You have to have more to present than the step, than your ability to learn choreography. Dancers can do that innately. We're like sponges, right? But then there also has to be other things that you cultivate within yourself as an overall artist. But then you also must have the leg, the foot, arch, instep, and the step. They ain't teaching that no more. They ain't teaching that no more. And so in a nutshell, that's what I'm teaching dancers. Okay? All right, guys, as always, I absolutely love being in this space with you. And until next time, happy dancing.